Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. This is your host, Michael and Courtney Weaver. We have a special guest today, rockstar insurance professional and agency owner, Tyler Bullington. Tyler, how are you today?
Buddy, couldn't be better, man. It's Friday. It's Friday, close to lunchtime. It's all downhill from here.
Well, hopefully we're not keeping you from lunch. We'll get through this, man. But first of all, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I know you guys have a lot of listeners and put a lot of time into your academy and your podcast and stuff like that. So appreciate you letting me be on.
Absolutely. So I like to always start with a little bit about you and how
Mhm.
you really got started in the insurance industry field. Maybe you were one of those weirdos that were like, "Hey, I'm going to be an insurance agent when I grow up." And maybe you were, maybe I don't know, or maybe I'm the weirdo that had never thought of an
Yeah,
insurance agency. I don't know.
sure. Yeah. So I was 22. And so it's all I've ever known. I got into insurance right out of college. I got super lucky, and I was 22 years old, and I actually have a degree in criminal justice. Well, it's a board of regents degree. It's not even a criminal justice degree. It just means, hey, you took so many classes for the love of God. Here's a piece of paper. Please quit coming. You know, and when I got close to graduating, I realized like I don't want to do anything with it. This is with. I don't want to be a police officer. I don't want to be a social worker. I don't want to work in a prison. Not that there's wrong with any of those things. It just wasn't for me. The reason that I really went into it is because it was easy to get a 2.0 and play sports. Yeah, that and it was so. I think it's so obscene. 95% of the time to ask like an 18 or a 19 or a 20 or a 22-year-old, like, hey, make a commitment to what you're going to do for the rest of your life. That's
Yeah.
but anyway, so I was getting out of college, and my parents got divorced when I was 19. When I was 21 and a half, 22, my mom started seeing this other fella. And we met that she went to high school with. They had grown up together, went their separate ways, and then started, going out again. And we went out for coffee one evening, and he was in the insurance world. He was like an area manager for the insurance company I'm a part of, and he just was like, "Hey man, why don't you give this insurance thing a shot?" And I was like, well, "Okay, yeah, having no idea what my future was going to be." And you look up 14 years later, and it's all I've ever known. But where I'm from, we talked about this just briefly before we started recording. Like where I'm from, it's very super blue collar. Where when I grew up in the southern part of West Virginia, deep in the coal fields, every road that I grew up on was a 2-lane road. My entire county had no interstate, no stoplights, no, it's all coal trucks, all 2-lane roads. You either work for the government, like my mother was a postmaster, my dad was a social worker. There you go. So my two parents worked for the government, or you went to the coal mines. That's it. There's no commerce. You got one barber, one bank, yeah, two Dairy Queens. That's it. Like it's it. And so it's very blue collar. So when I was growing up in high school, a lot of my friends, all of my friends, practically, would like loved shop class, or they loved trade school or something like that. And that was never really my shtick. But you remember back in the day, aging myself here, like on Wednesday, at 10 a.m. and the last thing you want to do is listen about, home ec or social studies or whatever. And the teacher would like cart in the TV and VCR.
Yep.
You remember
Yes.
that?
Yep.
Yeah. And I'd be like, yeah, man. And they cart in the TV and VCR. And every now and then they would show videos of like, economics or something on Wall Street. And so when I was growing up, New York or Wall Street or really any big city was just like something on TV, like a
Mhm.
figment of my imagination or something. I'd never seen it. And so, but I would see like a gentleman or a lady, like in their suit, carrying a briefcase. Cities were happening. They were making things work. And I always was like, like I want that. How do I get? But having no idea how do you even get there? And thank God, my mom started, hitting the dating scene when I was 22 years old. Or I would never be sitting here right
That's incredible. And we can relate. I mean, being from the Midwest and yeah, having that VCR roll in, it was the best because then you're like, I don't have to learn. I get to
Sure.
like just absorb and kind of numb out a little bit on,
Yeah.
reading Rainbow or whatever's happening. But I think that it's remarkable that you kind of went against the grain. So talk to us a little bit about, you went to school. Like, was that a
I got a question though, real fast. So, because I can relate to you, with when you see those things on TV, the New York, like it was a dream. Like, as a child or kid, what really attracted you to more of that, maybe profession, or hey, that's what I want to do with my life? I'd love to know that.
It's almost hard to put a finger on it. I never like wanted as a child. Like it's not like I was ever hungry or didn't have it. I certainly had friends from where I'm from and people that I knew that had, nothing under the Christmas tree. It's close to the holidays, and it's like, but we didn't have like excess wealth for certain. It was a very simple life. And I was always just not so much attracted to the things, but like when I put on the basketball team or on the football team or what, I was very vocal, and I was always like, I've just always been, much better with my words than I am with my hands. And so I think that had a big thing to do with it, of like, I just wanted to always be a leader. I always wanted to have some success. I always wanted to have freedom. I was always like a thinker and a creator, and wealth attracted me. Don't get it twisted. I like nice things. I like my kids having nice things. I like, but now, once you start making a little bit of money, it's not so much about the money, but the things that you can do with your money and the things that the money provides, including like time. Once you have kids, you guys have kids?
Not yet.
No, you don't have any kids. So I'm about 25 days from a 5-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter. Right. Okay. But I still like me too. Like I like my life, and it's hard when you have kids. So once you have kids, you have to trade time for money. So if you don't have money, you no longer have any time. So in order to be able, so I think that like foreseeing, not so much the kid part, I just kind of pulled that out of thin air, but like foreseeing, I always knew that I wanted like wealth and success and discipline and things like that, but I never knew how it was going to come about. But I think if you think that, you throw it in the universe, and it's very, hoopla and all that junk.
You're speaking our language, brother.
Yeah, but you speak that, you say it, you think about like anything that's ever came into your life, you thought about it first. And so I thought about it all the time, and here I sit. And I'm still not there. Don't get me wrong. There's levels to this thing. There's 10 levels. I'm probably around level 3. Yeah, but that's fun. It's also fun that you always get to keep competing too.
No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And you kind of answered where I was going with that, that thought and that mindset. So when you're having this conversation and you go into the insurance industry, what was your thought about the industry in general? What were you hoping to gain aside from, an opportunity outside of working with your hands or in trades?
Well, to be quite frankly, when I first started, I was delivering pizzas. So my first thought was, I want to quit delivering pizzas. God, I remember sitting in my first job, my first insurance job. I was a team member I worked for an agent, an insurance agent, but I had my own office, and I had my own door, and I had my own desk, and I had my own computer. And I just remember sitting behind it like I've made it. Like you made it, man. You got your own, like this is your thing. This is my desk. This is where I do my work. And but I never, at the beginning, I was just like, I enjoyed what I love about my job now. So at the beginning, I wasn't trying to get anything out of it except make some money and have a job that like I knew that I needed to sell something because can easily connect with people. Some of I think salespeople will never not have a job. Doesn't matter like if you learn how to sell, there's a book, what's it called? It's Musashi. I'm sure you guys have heard the Six Rings or whatever. And he says, once you know the way broadly, you see it in all things. So like once you learn how to sell and adjust to people, then you can do it with essentially anything, But I didn't have anything to get out of at the beginning, but now, like what I'm so thankful, one of the things that I'm most thankful for falling into this industry is I can see, like you can dictate whether you're a winner or a loser. I grew up as an athlete, and I love keeping score. You're a winner, or you won, or you lost. And I break that even down onto like a daily basis with me and my team. Like, hey, on December 9th, when we're recording this, December 9th, are we a winner or are we losers today? And what if you're like a mailman? The greatest mailman that America has ever known made the same amount of money as the shittiest mailman America has ever known. Yeah, and so there's no way of like really being able to like track if you're a winner or you're a loser, in that world. I mean, I guess maybe individually you could say that, but that's what I think about now. Is I'm so thankful that I have a job that can have a scoreboard with it. Yeah,
yeah, I love that. So, one thing I want to go into before we get into maybe some like daily win strategies and things like that. Mm-hmm. You're quite the yogi that we found out before the episode started. So I would love for you to talk about if you do have a morning routine, or I know you said you're kind of a creature of habit, and I can relate to that as well. So what does your morning routine look like? Like if you have a successful morning that sets you up for the day, what does that look like?
Well, and I think it's important for you to share because, when you go through your stats, I mean, you've hit every trip, you've qualified for every award. I mean, you're maxing things out. So really give us some tangibles on maybe our listeners and what your routine looks like, and maybe what you would recommend somebody's morning routine or some non-negotiables that you have.
Yeah, sure. So I'm up at 6:30. I got two kids. So I'm up at 6:30. And as soon as I wake up, I try to go. And if anybody on here is a podcast listener, and you follow whoever your influencers, whoever you like on Instagram, I strongly recommend Dr. Andrew Huberman. If nobody follows him, the Huberman Lab is an awesome podcast, and he's a great Instagram follow. So as soon as I wake up, I get outside and get 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight in my eyes, even if it's cloudy, that you're still getting it. And that kind of sets up your sleep. So that starts your circadian rhythm. That sets your mood for the day. It sets everything for the day. So I try to get right outside with I have a big water jug. The moment I get up, fill my water jug, get outside. I don't care if it's 112 degrees. I don't care if it's 22 degrees and raining. You got to step outside for 5, 10, 15 minutes, face the sun wherever it's at, get some of that natural sunlight in your eyes. So that's what I do as soon as I wake up. I have a pretty in-depth supplement regimen too. And I'll run through that quickly. So first thing that I take in the mornings is I take a joint, like a glucosamine chondroitin and fish oil, right? And then I down that with a bunch of water. And then I take Dr. David Sinclair. If anybody ever follows him, he's a great Instagram follow. Dr. David Sinclair, he's a longevity doctor from Harvard. He's great podcast too. A little nerdy for me. Just give me what you do. I don't need every single scientific fact that's ever been written about it ever. But as soon as with that, he has a trifecta for longevity. It's NMN. It's kind of a fad right now, but it's real. NMN. I take a gram of that. I take a gram of metformin, the diabetic drug. If you've ever, but it's so there's a study that I can't remember the name or who did it, but you can look it up. So if you have someone that was they did a huge study, and they took type 2 diabetics that took metformin against non-diabetics that didn't take metformin. And on average, the type 2 diabetic that took this pill lived longer than the non-diabetic. So it's kind of a miracle drug. So the trifecta is NMN a gram, metformin a gram, and then resveratrol a gram. But resveratrol doesn't get into your system unless you take a fat with it. So I take it with a tablespoon of olive oil. Then after that, I take athletic greens and a collagen supplement with some vitamin D in it. That's my morning supplement regimen. After I do that, I usually get my daughter to school. I don't have any caffeine for an hour. I wait 1 hour once I wake up to have any caffeine. If you do it as soon as you wake up, it's going to affect your sleep that night. So I like 60 to 90 minutes before I ingest any caffeine. So then usually I'm getting my daughter out the door to school around 7:30. I'll have a little, I have a Jocko energy drink, Jocko Fuel that I drink on the way. And then that morning, I'm doing either one of three things. I'm going to yoga. So that's usually a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday for me. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, or I'm riding my Peloton, and that's either Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I work out on average 6 days a week, but if I'm home, it's 7 days a week. When I say work out, I'm not in there setting powerlifting records. Yeah, but I'm moving 7 days a week, every single day. There's no reason to, like, even if you don't feel like it, you got to get up, just move. Even if you're going through the motions. Someday I go to the yoga class and I feel like I could conquer the world and I could fly and I could do all these things. And the class is amazing. Some days I go in there and I feel like, the sloth on Ice Age. I can't, I can't move. It hurts. Everything cracks. It's killing me, but I still get through it. So that'll run me till about like 9:30, 10, and then I have my coffee. So then I'll finally sit down at my office and have my coffee. And that will be a mixture of the Four Sigmatic coffee. It's like a half cordyceps mushroom, half organic coffee, some turmeric, and that turmeric comes from Laird Hamilton Superfood. If nobody, it's great. The honey I use is from Beekeepers Natural. It's great. And then some CBD oil and MCT oil in it as well. Yep. And so that'll be my morning coffee. I'll usually have that between, 9:30, 10, depending on what time my workout ends. And then I take from 10 to 12. Okay. So we're recording this around 11. So this is a little bit out of the ordinary for me, but like my 9:30 to 12 or anything up to lunch, right? My 9:30 to 12, my 10 to 12. I rarely have appointments at this time. Number one, because other people are trying to get their life together in the morning. So like the same as me. So, and I like to meet people that, have jobs. So a lot of times the mornings aren't the easiest things for them to do. So the morning time, 10 to 12, that's 9:30 to 12, whatever. That's all my housekeeping items, right? So I'm making sure I'm staying super hydrated. I'm doing my accounting. I'm cleaning my email inbox to zero, literal zero. My tasks are to zero. My text messages, all of them are answered. My desk is perfectly like clean, wiped off. My diffuser's going. Like if I could bring you into my office right now, besides my coffee cup that I just finished and my water, my desk is clean. Like there's nothing because you can't think. You can't create, like whatever whatever is on the outside is what's going on in the inside. Like your email inbox is how you handle your making your bed, and how you make your bed is what the inside of your car looks like, and what the inside of your car looks like is what your desk looks like, and what your desk looks like is what your closet looks like, and what your closet looks like is how you treat your kids, and how you treat your kids is how you do anything is how you do everything. So I take that morning to do like all my housekeeping stuff, my accounting, my emails, my texts, my tasks, clean my desk off, check in with my team. What's going on with you this morning? The morning, like I don't coach my team a ton anymore because I've had them so long. I'm more of like a vibe check. Like I'm just checking vibes in the morning. You know how, like, did anybody have a shitty night? Did everybody have a good night? Is everybody here happy today? Is somebody off? It's not, it's not anybody off. Are we all laughing? Are we all hateful? Is the weather affecting us? What's going on? And then that'll be my morning essentially. And then, at lunch, I'll have a real quick small lunch, and then I get in the sauna. I have a sauna at my office. So I pop in the sauna for 20 to 30 minutes. That kind of like helps me with I don't have to have an afternoon coffee if I do that. It kind of wakes me up. And so now I'm hydrated. I've been in the sauna. All my stuff's done. My desk is clean. I've checked in with the team. I don't have stupid emails lingering over me. I'm working on my CHFC right now, so I've studied that. I've done just all the crap that holds you back from being a successful salesperson. So now from like 1:30 to 5, 6, something like that, I'm in attack mode. I'm a dog. Now it's time to work. Now it's time to set an appointment. It's time to reach out to people that you should have already reached out to. It's time to write those handwritten thank you notes. It's time to answer the phones. It's time to grind. So every after my whole morning and that routine and a nice healthy lunch and getting in the sauna and getting all that just cluttery crap that holds people back, that just because you're busy doesn't mean you're productive. So I get all that busy work out of my way in the mornings, So in the afternoon from like 1 to 5, I can just go in, just go into dog mode, which is what I love to do. A lot of people don't, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but it's weird. Some people in my industry, like in insurance or in cars or in homes or in, cell phones or in pharmaceutical, name whatever it is that you're selling. Like they don't like sales, which is it's so weird to me. So I truly enjoy it because not only am I getting helped financially, but 99% of my appointments are with a couple of rules, like people that I like. That's number one. I only meet with people that I like. I only meet with people that I like and I have a good relationship with. If you want to complain, if you're crotchety, if you're having a hateful last day, then as soon as you set my office, I'm just going to say, well, there's no way I can help you get out. I have the ability to choose, who I'm going to meet with. And so that's number one. I'm getting to be around people that I like and I'm helping myself financially, but also I'm helping these people. Nobody wakes up and goes, God, I hope the insurance guy calls me today. and I get that, but I'm providing them a service that like at some of the best and some of the worst times of their life, like the best times of their life, they're financially secure, they're approaching retirement, they leave a legacy to their kids or their grandkids or whatever. I'm able to help with that. Sometimes some of the worst times of their life, their house burns down, they have a terrible car wreck, they have a death in the family, they're disabled, whatever. I'm able to help with that. So, it's my job is super fulfilling as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gosh
Cool.
dang, Tyler.
Yeah, so
that's good, brother, man. That's so good.
I'm
gonna have to get this this lineup of supplements from you after this. This is fantastic. Dude,
I know I'm gonna die one day, but my ass ain't going down without a fight.
No. So I just have a really interesting question with you doing all this stuff. Have you ever done the polar plunge?
Yeah,
the cold water therapy.
So I've done the cold water therapy before. I'm getting a cold plunge put in beside so I have like a little garage in the back of my office. And so I've got the sauna, I'm getting the cold plunge put in. And now, but like I hate it. Dude, when I'm in that sauna, like I'm talking to myself, I love the heat. I love the misery. Like I want to get out and be a little lightheaded. You know what I'm saying? A cold shower or that cold plunge, I hate it, which means I probably need to do it. I probably need to do it more often, but for sure. No, and I mean, the science behind it, like you're more alert, your testosterone's up, your hormones are more regulated. Your brain fat is up, which is the fat that you want. All the science is behind it. It's just that I don't give a shit about the science and freeze it down. Yeah, I hate it, but I got to get over it.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like every time you crawl in, man, it's terrible. But
never gets better. Never.
No, it really doesn't. It sucks every time, but it's kind of a sick, I've got kind of a sick addiction with it, man. It's kind of like that, like I hate it, but then after it, it's like, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Like I'm just like energy out of this world. It helps my anxiety and things like that.
Well, and I think, Tyler, when we were talking before this, it was like the hot yoga for you. It's like you like pushing that feeling and that harnessing that discipline. I'm curious, you got us through 6 p.m. I'm curious at what your nighttime routine, what the rituals look like at home with your family and all of that.
Yeah. So when I'm not traveling, I travel a bit for work, but right now, we're so it switches, especially when you have younger kids. Like right now, we're in the throes of basketball. So I coach one of my daughter's teams. My wife coaches my son's little team. So it's every evening. It seems like we're in some type of something. But like I have a big dinner because I always have a small. Like I eat very sparingly through the day. So that my blood sugar is not all over the place and you don't crash during the day. So I have a big dinner, but I don't have a particular time just because of my life currently. So sometimes that's at 6 if we don't have anything going on, or 5:30. Sometimes last night it was at 8:15 because we had a couple of things going. So I don't have like a particular time. But a couple of non-negotiables for me, right, is I always like, so let's say 9 p.m. on. So from 6 to 9, I'm going to have a big dinner. Usually I try to have like whole foods. My rule of thumb is, because you get into this diet crap, God almighty, people are carnivore, people are vegan, people are paleo, people are keto, people are like, kill me. It's so much, and everybody's right. The carnivores and the vegans, they're, it's like the Bloods and the Crips. It's so ridiculous. So my world is, if you can't kill it and it doesn't grow, then don't eat it. So that's what I try to do. But I always have like a great big dinner, and I try to do that with my family. I think that's important. And I got this from a great family friend. We always try to do sweet and sour at night. So like, what was the sweetest part of your day? What was the most sour part of your day?
Yeah.
You can get your kids to like tell you a lot just through that simple question. Like all you got to do is open it up and they'll kind of cover the rest. So, but from 6 to 9 right now in my life, you're looking at basketball, or you're looking in dinner, or you're at practice, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. It's still very full. So it's like, it's still very full time. But at 9 o'clock, take a big drop of CBD oil, try to get all the lights dimmed, all the lights off. I try to get off of my phone, 9:30, so you don't get all that light into your eyes. I have a magnesium spray, Ease Magnesium, because you can't orally, it just kind of passes through your body. Topically, you usually take it a lot better. So that helps relax you, and get my kids to bed, get teeth brushed, do the thing, at 9:30. And then at 9:30, from 9:30 to 10:15, I sit down and I read. And I'm into biographies right now. So that's what I've been reading lately, or just different biographies. But, sometimes I'll read to 10:30 if I'm not tired. Sometimes I'll read to 11 if I'm not tired. Sometimes I get 2 pages in, I'm drooling, so I got to close my eyes. And they always try to have 8 hours. But those 8 to 9 hours at night, that starts by what you do at 6:30 in the morning, getting out there, getting hydrated, getting the light in your eyes, getting everything in. So, and those days just continually repeat themselves over and over and over and over. And my vice, I don't even know if it's a vice, but it's my thing. Like when I have a free hour in the evenings, when they pop up, I freaking love video games. So I get an hour or so of video games in, maybe 2 or 3 nights a week too.
Okay. I have a little fun. I did that too, man. That's great.
That's right.
I'm curious, as a spouse to somebody who also has a very like structured, disciplined routine. Your wife, is she on board with this? How did you how do you dance between like her routine and your routine, and what does that look like? I think one thing that you've mentioned that I want to go back to a little bit too is your environment is incredibly important to you. Like you are putting
Sure.
things in place to make you thrive. So I would love to see, because there's a lot of people out there who don't have a partner who's going to get up at 6:30 and do these things, and kind of how you guys have had conversations around that to set each other up to do your own routines.
Sure. So, so a little bit about my wife, right, or about our relationship. We went full West Virginia and just moved right in when I was 19 years old. Yeah. So, like, I'm talking just dated for 2 weeks. How you doing, sweetheart? Move on. Yeah. And if you would ask her, 19 to about 31 was a rough ride for my beautiful bride, because she married a little baby boy. And I was sloppy and I was gross and I was undisciplined. And like even the little things that not folding my laundry, or she would fold it and it would sit there, not put in the dresser for weeks. and But she is and she would attest to this. She is the most structured. Like she, if you think my environment has to be clean, like my wife has a mild disorder about it. One of my favorite stories in the world is my best friend. So we're huge Marshall University fans, and they were playing in the conference basketball championship. Now, mind you, we have not been. We went to the NCAA tournament one time ever in the history of our school, and we're in the conference championship game for a berth for the NCAA tournament. And I've got me and my best buddy that we've grown up together over at the house. There's 3 minutes left. It's a 2-point game. We're losing our mind. And she goes and plugs in the vacuum right beside the TV and just on the rug in front of us. Dude, I thought Nick was going to throw her out into traffic. Like, for the love of God, Chrissy. But my wife says Chrissy, but she has, through thick and thin, she has helped. She's always been very, I'm an idea guy. I'm creative. I'm all in and then I'm all out. That's it. And she has weathered those storms. But now that she turns the 40 in 3 months, and I'm almost 36. Yeah, like now as adults, we realize, I think what happens is when you're young, when you're super young, and then, like, I need to freaking give relationship advice, but this isn't relationship advice. This is just what I think people have a tendency to gravitate toward. When you're super young and like you're in that hot, passionate, weird, freaky love crap, at the beginning, and it's everything. Like, you think that every living breath has to be together. Like, everything has to be together. And then you get together, and if you have kids, when we went through a kid phase where we were way too far apart, because you no longer become husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouses or partners or whatever you are. You no longer become that. You become mom and dad or whatever. Right? That's what you become. So you're no, and so then you go too far apart. And then if you can just like weather that storm, now like we both realize like, oh, I'm Tyler and you're Chrissy, and it's totally okay that we're totally different as long as we're kind of going in the same direction. So I'm lucky to have someone that lets me be as wild as I naturally am.
No, I love that. And I could go in on that too, but I want to go to like your daily win that you brought up earlier. Mm-hmm. Sure. I'd like to go what that looks like, because you're a super high performer. Your team's high performers. You guys knock it out of the park. So what does it look like for you, maybe your team, even more importantly, to win what does that win look like on a daily basis?
Yeah, sure. So like, I don't believe in year goals. I don't like New Year's resolutions. Like, why the hell aren't you just doing the shit now? I don't like New Year's resolutions. I don't like year goals. I don't even like quarterly goals. I'm not crazy about monthly goals, because in my industry, like, let's say you have a board tracker in the office. So in the back of the office, everybody in the world usually has a board, and it doesn't matter what you're selling. There's usually a board there tracking the sales for the month. Let's say you have a real hot first through the 16th, and you go back there and the board's filled up, and the team gets lazy and you get lazy. And you're like, well, what are you worried about? The board's full, right? But what that does is that screws up your funnel for the following month. And so I break that all the way down into days and the weeks. So I want to, so in my world, I do car insurance and financial services, property and casualty insurance, home insurance, stuff like that. So like, let's say that we do 3 cars in a house or something, that would be 4 apps. So those 4 go on the board. So if we get 12 a day, that starts into the bonus. And then if we get 17, that hits another tier. If we get 22, that hits another tier. So 12 gets us in, and then every 5 after that would increase the bonus. And then on the week, 70 starts it. And then I bump it again at 90, bump it again at 110. So what that does, if you take care of the day, like there's an old saying, what's the old saying? If you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. And if you take care of the day, the months will take care of themselves. The years will take care of themselves. So in my world, every day, we're losers. You start at 0. Yeah, you had 31 yesterday. Good job. You're a loser today until we get to 12, and it's very simple. It's a focus on the office. My office would always, like, I can text the team member whenever I'm calling and go, hey, what's the board today? And they know what that question means. What's the board look like? So that's a huge, when I went away from the months or the year planning or like the commission world, when I went away from that and started working on like days, it was a big game changer. I think not only for like the trajectory of my office, but I think it was a game changer in the trajectory of the type of team that I could recruit. And that, I mean, like the 6 people I have now, so I have 16 members that work for me. God, like I know they would say this that I'm pretty damn good to work for. I think that they would say that legitimately. But I realize what I got when I look at them. A lot of people in my industry, they want Ritz-Carlton service, but they pay people like they work at Dollar General. Yeah.
Yep.
And so when I look at my team, like I know their value and I know their worth, and I'm so lucky, like to have each and every one of them. And they hate me and they scream at me and they fight with me and I fight with them, and we're a family. And a lot of weeks I spend more time with them than I do my kids. Like it's a terrible thing to say, but my kids are at school and I'm here. We get a couple hours in the evening and they're at practice and I'm doing it, And so I spend so much time with these people. So you got to make sure that you got people that you enjoy and that you love and that you're able to have like fights with. The people I'm closest to are the people that I've had the biggest arguments with.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's one of the things that we talk about a lot, that as a relationship and as a couple, you have to learn how to fight. You have to be okay with challenging each other and knowing that you're all on the same team and working towards the same goal. And with that, I guess my question would be, because you talked about your environment and doing kind of a vibe check when you come in, and you're talking about really this culture of a collaborative culture, a winning culture, a confidence culture. What are some things that you do to set it up like that?
Sure. Well, so I don't like, okay, everything that you would think of corporate America, I don't do. I don't track time off. I don't track it. Don't take advantage of it. Yeah, you got kids. You got, all my team members except one have kids, and she has a dog that she treats better than any of we treat our kids. So they, I think that I don't look at them as units of production, because they're not. I look at them as mothers and fathers and friends and sisters and et cetera. So I don't track time off. I buy lunch every day. Like we do meal prep. So like we have a meal prep person that I'll buy lunch from them for we all do our orders and we buy lunch and they bring it in. We generally have lunch together. I close down for lunch every day from 12 to 1. I close it down because my office is insanely busy. Sometimes you need an hour to get your life together, right? So close down for an hour for lunch. I think that's important. Send them on vacation once a year personally, like they go together. The girls will go together. And then I have one gentleman in the office who's also my essential brother. We've been best friends. He's an only child. I'm an only child. We've been best friends since I was, 14. He was 12. So we'll take a trip together through the year. And you dress how you want. Just don't look terrible. I don't. It's not like jeans Friday or whatever. I think those days have kind of come and gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just I treat them how people say, how do you get such good people? How do you get accountable people? How do you keep your people accountable? Hire accountable people. Like all my people have their stuff together. All my people are disciplined, beautiful, intelligent, independent people that I don't have to micromanage or hover above. And I treat them like that and they treat me like that. And so I'm sure that they would tell you that there may be some other micro things that I do. Well, okay, for instance, today, I think that these things are important. So today is our Christmas party, or our end of the year party, whatever. And we're going to close down at 2:00. And I gave them all $200. And I said, from 2 to 5, you got to go spend the money on yourself. And you got to go do it locally. So you got to go do it right here. You got to take the money. We're closing down 3 hours early. You got to spend the money on yourself. Yeah, it has to be on you, not your kids, not your friend, not your spouse. And I have to see it. Go spend the money on yourself. Dinner's at 5:30. Don't show up buzzed already before dinner. That's the whole. Only 40 of your $200 can be spent on shots. So that way they still show up to dinner.
Fireballs going down.
Yeah. So I think that would be that's just one instance of like it's. I want them to work for me because they love me, not because they're scared that the boss is going to jump their ass. Mm-hmm. So I can look at it back in my athletic career. I had coaches that loved me and I would run through a brick wall with them. And then one instance in my high school career, I had the worst human being as a coach of all time ever. Still to this day, he's my least favorite person that's ever walked this face of the earth. And he tried to do it like a dictator. Mm-hmm. That's the last thing that I want to be is a dictator. I want to be a leader. And I want them to be able to trust me and talk to me about anything and them know that I'm here for them and that I will do anything, anything in my power to help them. So I mean, there's a great instance on what we're going to do today. And I try to do, something a little bit out of the ordinary, probably, twice a quarter, something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like you've created a team that wants to win for each other. So it's that's pretty remarkable.
One more thing on that too. Like I bonus as a team, so I don't do commissions. Okay, but we do have a team bonus that's on the daily and weekly scale, right? So when we hit a certain thing in the day, like if we hit 12 apps in a day, everybody gets bonused, not just the salespeople, not just the service people, right? Because of my service people. That's generally in the insurance industry, the two worlds that people live in, the service, like the billing and the claims and the paperwork and the call-ins and the card changes and things like that. That's what we call service. And then the sales are new households, financial appointments, things like that. And so if my service people aren't servicing, like, taking those phone calls, answering those billing questions, taking the payments, getting the paperwork, then my salespeople can't sell. And if my salespeople aren't selling, then my service people aren't paid. We're Tyler Bullington. We're Bullington Insurance Agency, Inc. So that's us moving together forward. I'm not, Amanda and Jessica and Tyler, but we're all just under the conglomerate of it. No, we're all together. So I bonus and pay on a team basis on what the team did that day, not on like, Michael starts it and I finish it. So now who do I pay? And do I go half and half or because sales is tough. Sometimes people say no. The service is tough. Sometimes you get crotchety people that are hateful for no reason. Mm-hmm. And so I want everybody to know when we all, like not one, if we have, so there's 7 of us here, including myself. if we have 6 winners and 1 loser, we're still a loser. That like that doesn't. It's not good that person still feels like a loser. So I want everybody to know, hey, we were either 7 winners today or we were 7 losers today.
Yep.
Yeah, we win as a team and we lose
right.
as a team.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, man, I can't let you off the buzz until we just talk a little bit about life. Okay, so life insurance.
Sure.
Not super long, but for those agents out there, peers in the industry that are struggling, that don't know how to get started, they're just not producing the life, either policies or premium they want. If you had 1 or 2 areas of suggestion that you're like, hey, if you go and implement this right away, you will see results, what would you say?
Yeah. Okay. So three things. So 3 big things. One, we've already talked about a lot. I'm not going to harp back on it, but it's my morning routine from 10 to 12. Get your life clean. Get your shit together. Get the things done that you know you need to get done. Quit putting them off. Get it all done so you can have the bandwidth to, like, the brain energy, the focus, the ability to separate yourself from all the worthless things that you do with your time. And that can go for anybody in any industry at doing anything at all. That can go for a house, so a homemaker that is, spending their time doing worthless stuff all day long. Get it out of the way. We all have things that we have to do that we don't want to do. Get them done. Get them done, get them done, get them done in the morning so you have the afternoon to do things that like are worth what you're worth per hour. So that's the number one thing, because you're making an excuse of saying, well, I can't talk to people, I can't have appointments, I don't know what to do, I don't have anybody to call, blah, 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 blah. And you're filling all that time that you could be doing those things with worthless tasks that you should have done this morning. And if you get ahead of it now, you won't have that keep following up. Okay, so there's the first thing. The second thing is you be so selective about who you meet with, and ask and let them know 2 things. Look, I think that you should meet with me. I think that I should show you what I do with my money, or I think that we should at least have a conversation about your finances. But if you're already working with somebody or you don't have any interest at all, I'm a big boy. Tell me, you can tell me, and I will not be mad, because we spend so much time trying to steal customers from someone else. I don't want people stealing my customers. So what am I trying? If they have a good relationship, so let's say I'm meeting with you, Michael, and you're meeting with XYZ, right? Or you're already with XYZ advisor company, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say, hey, if you're not working with anybody now, I'd love to show you what I do. And if you say, oh, I work with John or I work with Susie down at XYZ company, I'm going to ask one question. I'm going to say, well, do you like them? Do you have a good relationship with them? Are you pretty satisfied? And if you say yes, I'm going to say, thanks. Thanks for your time. Stay with them. If they ever retire or if things ever change or they leave or whatever, know that I offer those same services and I'd love to help. And I will never bring it up again. Or I'll say, like, hey, or if you have no interest, if you don't want to do this at all, just tell me. That's fine too. Like, get the no out of the way so early, instead of like spending an hour and a half with this person and they didn't want to listen to your loud mouth anyway, and they're never going to call you back.
Yep.
And now you've wasted your time. So get your life in order. Get your life in order. Be very selective with the people that you meet with, and give them an out. Give them an out. If they don't want to meet with you, tell them, hey, if you don't want to meet with me, tell me. If you have no interest in trying to get your finances in order, or me as a professional showing you what I do with my money, then that's totally fine. But tell me now. Don't tell me 2 weeks from now when I stalk you like a crazy ex-boyfriend. Like, I don't want to live in that world. So that, I think those 2 things. And then lastly, I think that we do a terrible job, and this is anything, it's regardless of what you're putting money into, whether it be some type of equity product, whether it be some type of annuity, whether it be some type of cash value insurance plan, whether it be some type of whatever it is, okay, a muni bond, I don't care. I think we do a terrible job of we try to sell we get all hyped up on a product, whatever this product is. And there's a lot of great products out there. So when anybody listening that's not in the insurance world, when somebody tries to sell you a product it's nothing bad. That could be a really dope ass product that would really benefit you in your life. But we get all hyped up on a product and we try to sell that product and pray to God that the customer can afford it instead of figuring out what the customer can afford and then fitting it into a product. So I spend the entire, most of my conversations with customers is realizing where they are currently in their financial life. What do they have saved? What's in retirement? What's in 401k? Do they have a work plan? Do they have any stupid debt, student debt or credit card debt? Or do they have too much house so they can afford or too much cars so they can afford? Or are they great with their money? Are they super frugal and it's all sitting and rotting in some money market account and really not doing anything for them? Or are they overfunding a retirement plan and underfunding here? Right. So I'm spending a majority of my time not selling a product, but learning about their financial world. And then I'm establishing a budget with them of before I show you XYZ product, I need to know what your need is. And the only way that I can know what your need is I need to know what your financial world looks like. So I get into that financial world with them, what they make, where their money is now, what they're doing with it. And then together we establish some customers can fund a policy or a product with $300 a month. Some that same policy or product with $10,000 a month. It doesn't matter to me. We just have to establish whatever that is. And now I know their need and I know their budget. And now I can show them what the product can do for them without freaking them out. You meet with somebody that makes $42,000 a year and you show them a $2,000 a month cash value policy and you're going to freak them right out the door. You're going to freak them out. Rightfully so. That's 82% of their take home pay. Yep. And so you freak them out and you haven't done anything, but maybe we should have talked about $250, $300. You meet with somebody that makes $1.6 million a year and you show them $400 a month. And now they think that you're, scared to show them something real and you've cheated yourself and you've cheated them out of what they really could have got. So I think if we could do a better job, and that comes with time and experience and being intelligent with money in the financial world, but if we could do a better job of figuring out what their financial current situation looks like and how we can fit into that instead of just trying to shove a round hole in a square peg or a square peg in a round hole, however the hell that goes, instead of just trying to shove this product in their face and God, I hope you have enough money for it. I think that people would really see a difference in their premium or policies, but not only that, Deion Sanders just said something he said, I don't chase, I've never chased the bag. I just treat people right and the bag chases me. So don't get caught up on policies and premiums and trying to get the bag and just trying to get this cash and trying to be don't get caught up on that. You're hitting this promotion and hitting this bonus and don't do if you truly don't do that and you just meet with people that you enjoy and help them out financially and educate yourself in the financial world and you really help them, that bag's gonna come to you. It's gonna come to you.
So good, man. So good.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, Tyler, so again, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. This has been great, brother. If somebody wanted to follow you or connect with you, can they do that on the socials? Is there
Yeah, for sure. I'm on the Instagram, be the best, just Tyler Bullington, the number 2. Tyler Bullington, the number 2, super easy to find. I have a book. By the way, I wrote a book years ago. I need to do enough, but it's just it was kind of the conversation that we had today. It's kind of how I thought. I think I wrote it in 2017, 2018. So it's called The 2% Edge. Be ready for your moments that matter. If you go onto Amazon and just search Tyler Bullington book, it'll pop up, The 2% Edge. And it's super interesting though. You could listen to this podcast and read that book and all the premise is the same, but like the actions that I'm taking are very different. So it'd be interesting to like do that every 4 years of just like, even if you don't publish it or whatever, just write down, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm thinking. This is my morning routine. This is my evenings. This is, these are my hobbies. These are my habits kind of thing. Because although I try to think that my discipline is still pretty solid, the actions, the things that I'm actually doing are quite different. So.
Yep. No, man. Well, congrats on writing a book. That's that's
yeah,
amazing.
thanks.
That's quite the feat itself.
It's more of a pamphlet. Let's not get carried away. It's more of a pamphlet. It'd take you about 22 minutes to read it.
Hey,
but it was a good time.
We'll make sure and drop it in the show notes too. So if you're listening and you want to snack that, there'll be a link down below that you can go ahead and support Tyler just as a give back, because he's given so much in these last few minutes, talking about just your routine and everything. So we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yeah, absolutely, Tyler. Awesome. Thanks again. And for all of those listening, thank you for your time. We'd love to know your thoughts on this episode. So make sure you drop us a note. And other than that, as always,
unless you hate it, then just keep it.
Man, there's no way they can hate it. It's so good.
I want you, if you're listening, text us at 816-727-7610. Share your biggest takeaway from this and we'll share it with Tyler, or just shoot him a DM on Instagram, because I took so many notes.
Yeah.
So, this is just it. This is great.
Yeah. It's all about controlling your day, controlling your time routine, creature of habit. I love it, man. All the basics that lead to success. So as always, my friends, time is the most valuable and important asset that we all have. We appreciate you spending time with us. Go out and make it great.